Welcome back, guys, to yet another World of Warcraft video on this channel. Today we are going to be talking about I guess alternate way of leveling, but also a pretty good way of leveling. But before we get into it, make sure you guys drop a like on the video and also subscribe to the channel with all the notifications on, because it helps me out greatly. But anyway, as you guys can tell from the title and probably also the thumbnail itself, this video is going into leveling from 50 to 60 with gathering, just straight up gathering, nothing else. And the reason that I actually was wanting to talk about this specifically was because I was looking into a couple of other different ways to actually level as you're doing 50 to 60, because obviously I have a big challenge of getting 250 level 60s before 10.0. So, you know, finding out a couple different ways of leveling is definitely in my best interest, to change it up or swap it up or just know a lot of different things if people ask questions. So what I did was I went out here on multiple characters, some with rested, some without rested experience, and I tried a couple different farming routes in Shadowlands, and this is what I got down to. So what you can see right here, right now, is that we're on a level 54 character, and it currently has no rested experience. And it is getting 1,155 experience. Now that is also with war mode on. Obviously, war mode counts when it goes towards, obviously, gathering anything. So gathering ores and herbs is something that it will work towards. Now, if you're Alliance, you will obviously get more than 10% in most cases, but usually for Horde, it's only a 10% increase. Now, if you don't want to do war mode, you lose out on 10%. It's not that big of a deal. But from level 50 to 51, it stays the same. It's like 950 experience. But at level from 51 to 52, 52 to 53, every time you level up all the way up to 50, it increases by 50 to 60 experience. But to go over this with you guys, it's a lot. It's math, okay? So what it is you need around 6.4 million experience when you go from level 50 to 60, and every single herb or ore that you pick up will on average get you, if you have because this is very important, if you have rested experience, it's going to give twice as much. And obviously, to make this as fast as possible, you would want to do this with rested experience, and it's very easy to figure out how slow it is without it, because it's literally just, instead of 200% experience, you get 100% experience. So if you have 3.4 million experience, it's a little more than that. It's like 3,445 something. But just to go off of this right here, 3.4 million experience, and every single ore or herb is going to give you an average of 2,200, because as you get higher and higher, it's going to increase a little bit. But just to give you guys an average of how long it's probably going to take, we're going to say 2,200. So at 3.4 million, if we divide 3.4 million with 2,200, you guys can see that it takes 1,545 individual herb and ore nodes or flowers for you to go from level 50 to 60. Now, how long would it take you to get 1,545 individual ones? Well, in this route that I have right here, and this is very specifically over here in Revendreth, it's very simple. All you have to do is you go in a little circle right here. That's all you have to do. It is very simple. You go around this little Ember Ward place. It's very easy to follow. You just follow around the edges, and that's all you do. This is the best, well, one of the best farming routes for Sinvir ore, and here, obviously, you want to have mining and herbalism in Shadowlands when you're actively doing this, because otherwise it's not going to be great. And you're obviously going to be getting good gold along the way as well, which is very desirable if you're leveling 50 to 60, which is something I should have mentioned earlier in the video. On my server, every single hour, I get probably around 20 to 25k in actual value from these items. And right here, you can see it takes 1,545 individual node veins or flowers. And what I figured out is that if you're actively out here and you have no competition, you can pick up individually 300 to 350 herbs and ores all together, right? So obviously, it's not the amount that you're getting out of the ores is when you fly over to one and you see one on the ground, that counts for 1. And you can get about like one of these. You can get one of these, or you know, a Sinvir ore or a flower, whatever it is, 300 to 350 an hour. So if we have 1,545, we divide that by 325, you can see it's 4.7. So basically what that means is that if you have fully rested experience, it takes you in between 4 to 5 hours to level up with gathering, which is really good. It is just as fast as leveling through Threads of Fate would be in the fastest way possible. The only downside is rested experience. You have to wait for rested experience to be applied on your character for this to even work. Because if you're not using rested experience, it's going to take twice as long. So obviously, as we talked about earlier, if one flower or an ore gives you 2,200 obviously experience with rested experience, well then it will only give you 1,100 if you do not have any rested experience. So it will take twice as long, probably 9 or 10 hours to level from 50 to 60. The reason that you might want to do this though is because of how much gold you can get along the way. Think of it like this. If you have a character that you level entirely without rested experience, it takes 9 to 10 hours. So as I talked about earlier, I get around 20 to 25k in value every single hour. Now obviously this is very server dependent. It heavily depends on what you decide to do. So take this with a grain of salt, do the math yourself and figure it out. But what it is I say, okay, well, 20 to 25k, we'll say 22,500, right smack dab in the middle. And we say, okay, it takes 9 hours. We times it by 9. You see 202,500 gold is what I get for leveling my character from 50 to 60, which is something I want, but I also get gold along the way. Now, obviously, I sacrifice probably like 4 hours. I could have done it 4 hours faster if I did it the normal way through Threads of Fate or without rested experience, but then I lose out on getting 202,500 gold. So in some cases, this is something that you have to consider. If you don't mind gathering or you want some extra gold along the way, this is something that you can do. If you're building up a new character and you want to make sure that you get enough gold to pay for a WoW token monthly, take a character at level 50, make it a druid or whatever you want to do, and just level it with gathering. If you do it with no rested experience, it's 9 to 10 hours. If you do it fully with rested experience, it's 4 to 5. And that is it. That is all I have to say. I hope this video helped you guys out. If you have any questions, make sure that you leave them down in the comments below. And obviously, remember to put on war mode. If you don't like war mode, then don't. But usually in war mode, there's a lot less competition, which means you have a higher chance of getting more material and more experience. But that is going to be everything that I have for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And until the next one, see you guys.